Welcome to our second session of running mechanics analysis. You're welcome to email your videos in and we'll take a look at you. In our intro video, we looked at someone that was provided with a lecture and a 5 minutes worth of hands-on work, and her form looked pretty good. That being said, when you get out there on your own, it's more than likely to fall apart. Even if that runner in the introductory video had gone out to run just 200 meters, I'm fairly confident her form would have resorted back to how it looked in the first part of her video before any sort of instruction. If you've gone a week, a couple of days, a month, a year with no form analysis, there's a good chance your form has fallen apart. There are some of us, I find that people who've taught running mechanics for a while tend to have better awareness and can maintain it and self-correct quite a bit, but even those people need to look at their own form once in a while, and that doesn't go for any running mechanics coach. I think the proof is in the pudding, and if you are going to go work with a running mechanics coach, I highly suggest for them to show you videos of people they've worked with, and for you to be able to judge the progress in those running mechanics videos for yourself first. As I showed in that first introductory video, it is fairly easy to get someone running with nearly perfect running mechanics in a hands-on session, even if it's their very first time. Learning to maintain that becomes difficult, and that's why it requires everyday work, to be honest with you. It requires working on every single step of the way, practically. Okay, I'm going to move on from that and analyze the first person here. So, starting right off the bat, this person is in a mid-stance position. So we're going to start off with counting how many frames does it take for them to get their foot off the ground. All of these videos are in 30 frames per second, so it makes them comparable. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it gets 4 frames. So let's go back and look at that. We're aiming for 3 or less frames. 3 is the maximum that we want to see. So we see 1, 2. In this frame, we're starting to see some flex in the shoe here. There's a lot of leveraging off this ball of the foot motion. We're going to be flexing the quadricep, which can lead to IT band stress, flexing the calf, as you can see here, which can eventually land to Achilles tendon inflammation. And we're also, this flexing the foot can cause some plantar fascia pain. And the main thing that we're more than likely to see is ball of the foot pain, potential stress fractures down the road. So in the next frame here, we can see even more of a bend in the shoe, so even more leverage. Now the foot's off the ground. He has a very good bend here in the knee, starting off with. This front foot is nice and relaxed. We're not seeing the lower leg swinging out in front, so that is great. We'll go back a frame. In this position, the foot's underneath the hips. In the next position, the knee starts to bend. So that timing is good. We want to see the rear knee bending as soon as the foot's underneath the hips. So we can work on our timing all around here. We're seeing kind of a lag here. We see the start to a bend here, a little bit of a bend here, then a big bend here. It looks like we could skip this step. If we could have gotten the foot off the ground in 3 frames per second, we could have gotten to this greater bend sooner, and that forced this foot down a little more underneath. What we're going to see, a little bit of toe lift here. Again, there's an equal and opposite reaction. If we're late bending the rear leg, we're going to land out front a little bit. Because the brain is not a great multitasker, it's actually pretty fair for us to deduce that his focus on lifting the toes and controlling this front foot was more than likely the reason why the rear leg came off the ground late. That's typically the case. A little bit of a heel strike there, not horrible. When the full weight comes down, the foot is basically underneath the knee. If this were me, I would probably start to develop a little bit of shin pain here, possibly a little bit of knee pain, possibly a little bit of hip pain for those stabilizing muscles in the medial glute and hip flexors overworking a little bit. Now we're underneath again. Let's watch this next foot. Again, this one's a little bit late. We're still at 4 frames here. We're pushing off. You can actually see, if we watch here, we can see the vertical height with this little bit of a push. If we go back, we could have gone 1, 2, 3 and gotten it off the ground and had this big bend. Instead, it takes us 2 more frames to start getting this bend and 1 more frame to get this larger bend in the knee. We'd like to have seen that sooner. So if we can focus on bending this knee more, if we can get this foot coming up straighter like this rather than coming up way back here, it'll force this foot down flatter. Again, we see a little bit of toe lift, a little bit of supination, and out front just a tad bit. Again, this is being nitpicky. This runner does have good mechanics, but we can make it better. Plain and simple, we can get better here. I guarantee I can pull out some amazing runners that have form that looks pretty similar to this, and they're running amazing times, you know, sub 206 marathons. We have to look at injury rates, and we have to say, okay, no matter how fast you're running, this is a braking force, and this is leveraging off your rear foot and causing undue stress to those bones and joints. Moving on to the next runner. So let's go ahead and move on here. And wait for this runner to come in view. Okay, here we go. So we're in mid stance here. Let's look at what goes on here. So we say 1, 2, 3. That foot's coming off the ground in pretty darn good timing, and this is a pretty significant bend. I'm happy with how quick this foot's coming off the ground. Let's watch the front foot. Well, what I'm seeing here is everything was going nice and smooth, but then this runner is pushing the foot down, and you see the knee go completely straight. We want the knee bent when we land some to create some suspension. We come down, it's completely locked and straight. That's not good for that knee. We're going to we're actually causing damage to the cartilage and bone with no bend. We want the muscles and the tendons to take the loading force to create a spring effect. We don't want to lock the joints in for your bone to take all the stress. So now let's count. Again, we're completely straight here. That's not a good place to be. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this foot's taking longer. So not only is our leg completely straight, we're bypassing the shock absorption that the muscles and tendons could be providing, but we are leveraging off of those bones, and then a pretty good bend here starting, but the other leg was better. Now watch this leg bend. This one landed with a nice bend in the knee. So this is his right leg. That one looks good. It's this left leg. We need to bend with a little more bend in the knee. Okay, let's watch this runner. This isn't the best viewpoint to film from, but we'll work with it, okay? It's better for directly from the side. So here we are in our mid stance. We're moving through. We have, let's go, 1, 2, 3, 4. It took 5 frames to get that foot off the ground. That's really late. The foot's way back here, creating a longer lever. That's a lot of stress on the hamstring here. And what we're also seeing is this front foot reaching out front just a teeny bit. I think this runner is focusing on not heel striking, which is a good thing to do, but it's an overemphasis on this front foot. We'd rather leave the foot relaxed, not with no toes pointed down and the toes not dorsal flexing lifting up, and all of our focus to be on this rear foot coming off the ground. If our brain cannot multitask very well, then we want to focus on the rear leg. So this foot's coming down nicely underneath the knee. But what we're seeing is this foot so far back that it has to swing to catch back up again, and then we're seeing this foot push off, leg completely straight. That's a lot of stress through the foot here. How can we fix that? We can bend this knee sooner. We're landing there, so we're almost there. We need to just focus on getting this foot up off the ground sooner, retracting this leg underneath us. Let's go to the next runner here. Skip forward here. All right, let's focus. Right off the bat, we can see the bottom of the shoe a little bit. This runner's supernating just a little bit, landing just a teeny bit out in front. Not horrible. They're running faster. This person is a very good runner, but we're going to be nitpicky. The toe is up just a little bit. This runner is focusing on controlling this foot some. Here we are underneath. This foot's further back than I'd like it to be. So we're having to swing to catch it up again. What we're going to see now is instead of this knee bending to bring the foot up, we're going to see this foot actually come down some as the athlete is swinging their leg forward some, and that swing is going to lead to this foot toes up just a little bit and some control of the foot. So I think that this motion here, instead of the foot going up more, starting to swing forward, if we can see our whole leg, we'd see that this angle behind the knee is remaining static, and we're seeing this foot pushed out in front. We don't want to see that because that's going to correlate to this leveraging off this foot. That's going to create some ball of the foot pain here. That's no good. Let's go back and count how many frames. So right off the bat, I think it'd be good if this person's heel was touching the ground a little bit. Again, a lot of pressure on the Achilles and on the ball of the foot. And we go 1, 2, 3. 3 frames, that's good. I'd like to see more of a bend here. Again, this basically not bending at all right here. That's the bend we want to see sooner. Rather, we want to not focus on this foot and bend the leg sooner. Here we are landing underneath. So being nitpicky here, it's just a matter of timing. Get rid of this leveraging motion, bend the knee sooner, force this foot down flatter, rather than this foot coming off late. And we can see the underside of the shoe as this runner starts to control this foot. We have a controlling motion. So we see here, toes up, coming down. You can see how this runner is definitely controlling the foot as the foot's landing out in front of the knee. Here we are landing full weight underneath the knee. Again, a lot of good attributes. We can clean it up just a little bit here. It looks like this leg closest to us is the one that's coming off the latest. Let's count here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. It took 4 frames to get that foot off the ground. Let's clean it up and make it a little tighter. Okay, let's go to this next runner here and analyze their form. Here we are in mid stance. Go ahead and work forward. Again, a huge push off the rear here. Let's count how many frames. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 frames. No bend of the knee yet. When this foot comes off the ground, it should be initiated by a bend of the knee. Now we have a slight bend, but not much because this person's brain is focusing on their foot. We can see the bottom of the shoe, supination. Huge toes up right now. Huge heel strike. Heel strike, no good. Huge amount of impact force going to affect the shin, the knee, the femur, and the hips and the lower back. Heel striking equals not good. And pointing your toes out in front is also not great. We want to land flat. So we're heel striking, coming down. At this point, there's a huge amount of braking force. Now we're underneath 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 frames again. We see a lot of pushing motion here. You can tell this person's really leveraging off that rear foot. We're going to clean that up. We want to bend that knee and get the foot up underneath. Next video, we have a track meet here. Let's get this runner in yellow closer to us and analyze the form. Now they are sprinting. How does that affect things? Well, it's going to mean that their center of mass is moving forward faster, leaving this rear foot behind the ground faster, which means it takes more force to bend this leg on time. That's why sprinting is a thing of beauty. You need to be on time. They're late. Now we see a slight bend coming. If this foot would start coming straight down, this front foot, we'd be great. But what we're going to see actually is a pretty big heel strike way out in front. Here's the knee, here's the foot. We're way out in front. We could have focused on bending this rear knee sooner, faster, and that would have helped prevent that. We're underneath now. Here it is, reaching way out in front. We want to get rid of this reach and focus on the rear leg catching up. When you're sprinting, you're leaving foot behind. We want to focus on not leaving it too far behind at all. When you go back and you watch that first video of me analyzing Usain Bolt, you'll see that he picks his foot up pretty darn close underneath his hips. His foot is never left this far behind. There's never this large of a lever. And this foot, this lower leg, never shoots out front like that. So that's how we can clean that one up. All right, next video. Let's go ahead and make this quick. Okay, here we have a runner coming through. And what we're going to see is this runner is pointing to their toes a little bit too much control in this foot. A little bit of toe lift right there before the land. Landing underneath nicely. Let's count how many frames. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 frames. We could cut off a frame, bend this leg sooner, rather than focusing on pointing these toes and landing out front a little bit. Oh, we went from pointing the toes to lifting the toes up before we even landed. Now we're landing, and that landing looks good. Let's clean it up by not leveraging off this rear foot. You can see that leveraging motion while this person's thinking about their front foot. Let's jump to them coming back now. Here's the last runner we'll look at today. We look at a little bit of control in this front foot, a good bend in the rear leg actually, and they're overcompensating by having a great bend in the rear leg, but we should get rid of this control. Let's count how many frames. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 frames, and we could have done a little better job by not controlling that foot, and then that would have been cleaned up really nicely. Let's go to our one more runner to look at. Here we go. A little bit of control of this front foot here. And I'm actually going to continue this in the next video.